Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Birthday Gaming HD here today. In today's video, I just ended up wrapping up Resident Evil Requiem, and this story, it is a good one. It has been a blast playing this game. I do plan on replaying it again by flipping the perspectives of playing Leon in first person and playing Grace in third person, and get that little bit more of that survival horror through Leon's perspective and more of that, I guess, action type, through Grace's point of view. I don't know, to be honest with y'all. But this game's a great one. It is up there. I've played Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 Remake, respectfully, even though a whole lot of people say that Resident Evil 3 is more of a... How can I say it? It's not up there with Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 4, respectfully, right? But when it comes to the chemistry of Grace being a newer character within the Resident Evil franchise and returning character Leon S. Kennedy, who we've seen through Resident Evil 2, 4, didn't bother to play 6 at all when that game came out. And I pretty much played 7 and 8 as well, Village and Biohazard. And I've played from both perspectives. I played from the first person, from the FPS side, and through the third person side as well. And having that option within Resident Evil Requiem is a really nice touch to the franchise overall, and I hope they do carry this feature going forward, giving the player the choice of either playing in first person or third person, depending on your perspective. You know, the first person being part of the newer generation of the Resident Evil crowd, and the classic, I should say, for those who played Leon's story through 2 and 4 respectfully. That is here as well for those who are part of that generation of the Resident Evil franchise as well. And when it comes to the gameplay and the combat and the mechanics of this game, they are smooth. They aren't very smooth to where you can transition from tomahawk kill to tomahawk kill. It's not that clean of a transition, even though that guy just literally got speared in the back and I'm about to finish him off with an axe. Which, that's one thing that I actually liked about this game, is the fact that it's a little bit more gory, a little bit more out there compared to other Resident Evil games in the past. And that's a good thing. You know, some people like their gore, some people like that how do I say it, that dark grittiness when it comes to the Resident Evil franchise. And when I say Capcom delivered on Requiem, they delivered on Requiem. And I had this game on my radar ever since I finished playing Village. I loved Village. I loved freaking Biohazard. The character in that game did not deliver it for me. And if you've played 7 and beat the ending of 8, you'll understand why that Ethan was not a fan favorite amongst the Resident Evil crowd at all. 7, he was kind of iffy. 8, it pretty much gave him a dead giveaway. If you haven't beat 7 or even finished 8, I'm not going to get into that. But the story of Resident Evil 9 is something that pretty much gives you, like, yes, more Leon, and then other parts it's like, oh, I wish that did not happen. You know, like those hype moments and those sad moments. The game kind of keeps you on a twist and kind of keeps you on the edge of wondering, like, you know, what's gonna happen next. Like, what am I going to face next as Leon? What am I going to encounter as Grace? Like, there are so many questions that you do end up getting answers to, but at the same time, there are more, I feel like some of the questions were answered, and at the same time, it left more questions to be open as well. And the thing is, though, with this game, there are 2 endings, which I'm not going to spoil those endings. One is canon and is the true ending, and one is basically an outlier, which I'm not going to say what the outlier is. because I'm trying my damnedest not to spoil the game for anybody who has not even gotten maybe past the first half or maybe the first 2-3 hours of the game. And I'm trying my best here to compose myself. I've done this before where I did it with Dying Light the Beast, and I basically went full spoiler territory on that game. But here, I'm going to keep it calm, cool, and collective. No spoilers, no story-related cutscenes, just some raw gameplay of just Leon in the background as you've been seeing for the past almost 6 minutes of this video. And there's a reason why I chose to do this type of gameplay. I chose to do the Leon point of view because I realized there's more action, there's more oomph to the gameplay compared to playing Grace's side. Grace's side, sure, she might have some moments here, she might have some moments there, but I think this is probably the best choice for me to do for gameplay when it came to doing this commentary. But there is so much detail, there's so much detail within the environments that they put into this game. Depending on the first area that you do play in, it's so well done with what they've managed to do with the Resident Evil engine. And seeing so much fan service come back in this game is something that is a very interesting choice that Capcom decided to do. And besides, there are some parts of the trailers with the game leading up to the release of this game in general that it pretty much hinted towards us coming back to Raccoon City. And oh boy, 30 years later, the environment is such a different change of pace compared to what it was during Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. The environment feels like it's just shrouded in mystery. There's just so much debris, so much decay, and so much that has gone for the past 30 years since the events of, I think it was Resident Evil 3, I think it was. Well, I'll take that back. During the events of Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 2, because I believe Jill was in that same time frame as Leon and Claire, if I remember right. And seeing Leon on one hand as a fan service to bringing back that cold, gritty badass that everybody loves for one reason or another, as well as his witty one-liners, which I'm not going to lie. But Grace, on the other hand, she's nothing like Leon. She's the complete opposite when it comes to playing as her. Her play style is completely different. Leon's more of that run-and-gun type of badass, right? And that's what Leon has been known for when it comes to the Resident Evil franchise ever since, I believe, during Resident Evil 2 remake, well, even before the remakes, to be honest. But seeing a brand new character like Grace really changes up that formula and changes up that atmosphere for those who've played 7 and 8 respectfully. Kind of give those players, a welcome, a warm welcome into the franchise, continuing that perspective, that side of view, I should say. And Grace, she's really nothing like Leon, obviously, duh. She's really nothing like him. She's scared, she's always saying some shit that kind of really makes you question her as a character. But then yet again, if you were in her shoes, you would be saying a lot of the same shit. You would be going through a lot of the same crap that she went through going through this story. And I think Grace is a good point to open up and give the player that connection with Grace And even throughout the cutscenes, there are some moments where I felt like, I was there with her. I was going through the motions. I was going through the bullshit that she was literally seeing. And it is, it feels you're more connected with Grace within Requiem than you were with Ethan during Village as well as Biohazard. Don't get me wrong, I love Village and I love Biohazard as some really great Resident Evil games, but Ethan is nothing compared to Grace. I'm sorry, I will put that down. Ethan is probably on the lowest totem pole when it comes to favorite main characters. And it was something of a phenomenal. It was basically a roller coaster, switching between Leon and Grace, playing two different play styles. One hand, your inventory space is very limited as Grace, so managing your inventory is a little bit of a pain in the ass. But Leon, you do end up getting some nice unique things here and there, which I'm not going to spoil because I'm trying to keep this spoiler free as much as possible. But Leon's kind of more equipped, kind of more prepared for the situation at hand. And it really does show that Capcom really does understand their audience, really does understand their fans of their franchise. And I kind of wish more franchises do this more. Resident Evil, I'm pretty sure there are some games that Capcom made and they failed miserably. Sure, they redid 2, redid 3, and redid 4 as placeholders for them to ensure that they install the next, till they bring the next big installment into the Resident Evil franchise. And this game, in my opinion, I believe it has a whole lot of more replayability compared to prior titles within the franchise. And that's a good thing because now, since I've beaten the game, I'm just gonna go play Leon in first person and play Grace in third person. So that kind of gives me an option to go back and play the game and play it from different point of views. And that's a nice change of pace. That's something that you really do have here. And as well, I think there's another mode that you are able to do that involves ribbons, but I think it's only Grace's side of the story. So making sure that you choose to save at a certain point and make sure you choose it rightly so you don't screw yourself over is also a nice change of pace. Even though I'm not going to play the one where I have to find ribbons and set ink ribbons or whatever and save the game that way. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play the game again, just Leon in first person and Grace in third person, and see how much more different that actually is. Even though you can kind of go in the first person with Leon depending on what your gun attachments are, but I want to get that full first person experience as Leon Kennedy. I want to get that experience hands on, if you know what I mean. But I beat the game in less than a week. Yeah, the game was that good. I had to beat it. It was that good of a game. It kept me hooked. It kept me entertained from beginning to end, answering so many questions, opening up so many more. And I'm excited for the future of Resident Evil. I'm excited to see where the story takes place as after Resident Evil 9, or maybe they might go back and remake Resident Evil 0. If they do, I'm going to pick up that game and play it as well because I love this franchise. I love zombies. Leon S. Kennedy is a badass. And Grace is fresh blood within the franchise. So it's been your boy Brother Gaming H. Everybody, if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, hit them bell notifications, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out and goodbye, everybody.